Good day and welcome to At Inside NCOP, your backstage pass to the National Council of Provinces. And I'm your host, Dean Walbrich. Today we are kicking off our profile series, which is a conversation we are having with members of Parliament who hold elected positions within the NCOP, just to get a first-hand account at what they do. So today I'm joined by the Honourable Dennis Ryder. He is the House Chairperson of Committees for the NCOP. Welcome, Honourable Ryder.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Thank you. Honourable Ryder, let me get into this. So, what role does the House Chairperson of Committees play within the ambit of the NCOP?
So, the House Chairperson is an elected position, elected by the members of the National Council of Provinces from amongst its members. The role is to oversee the work of committees and coordinate the work of committees to ensure that the committees actually get through what they are required to do. It is quite a complex role. I've been doing it for a year and still learning sometimes because the work of committees is in itself complex and often changing according to circumstances. Now, of course, it's my job to make sure that committees are appropriately facilitated in terms of the time allocations. We do what we can to ensure that venues are available. There's a massive shortage of venues in the parliamentary precinct now for committee meetings to take place since the National Assembly burnt down. So we find ourselves in constant conflict with other committees trying to find space and time to accommodate them. But also managing the work of the committees, so ensuring that legislation is processed through the committees in terms of the laid down rules and procedures, and also in terms of the timelines that are laid down, and then ensuring that the work that committees are involving themselves in falls within the mandate of the NCOP and that specific committee, so that we don't have overlaps, and certainly we don't have ourselves trying to mimic the work of the National Assembly either. So, look, I mean, there's quite a few components ensuring that committees are doing what they're supposed to be doing, what they say they're going to be doing, and really facilitating any issues that the chairpersons or the committee secretariat have in enabling to have those meetings. It's a trite saying that committees are the engine room of Parliament, but the reason it's repeated so often is because it's just simply true. So any work that ends up in front of the House, in front of the plenary session, needs to have gone through a committee. And so that work must come through our space. And yes, to ensure that it comes quickly when it's supposed to happen, is all part of what I'm there to help facilitate.
Okay. And that leads well into my second question, which is, on a scale of 1 to chaos, how hard is it to ensure the overall smooth running of select committees?
So, look, I think chaos is probably a strong word, but sometimes I feel like it is like that. Certainly things are dynamic, things change all the time, and committees also need to be responsive to situations that are, coming into the news cycle, situations that are happening on the ground. So committees do need to be responsive, and as much as we try to coordinate our programs well in advance, there are always last-minute changes that are happening. The reality is that there is a really good team of support staff that stand behind the committees, and we've set down standard operating procedures as well, so that everyone is following kind of a logical process and ensuring that they meet the requirements of getting things approved, getting things through the system, because committee meetings can't just happen. There is an approval process, of course. And so, the alignment of the team, the background team, is something that we've been working on quite carefully, and certainly that's starting to pay dividends as there's a realization that the rules are there not to hamper people or to limit them unnecessarily, but in order to ensure that everyone has appropriate opportunities and is able to achieve their outcomes that they want to achieve.
Okay.
Certainly.
Okay. Let me ask you this. What is something that South Africans don't realize that select committees are responsible for?
Well, I would hope South Africans are as aware of committee work as I am. It would be great if everyone could be really, really well informed. And of course, I'm going to give the PMG website a punt. So www.pmg.org.za is the Parliamentary Monitoring Group. And anyone who's interested in finding out more about the work of committees really needs to visit that site. And you get an amazing quality of information put together by PMG, which is an independent NGO-funded organization. And they put lots of information together there. What people don't know, well, I mean, every committee is a little bit different. In the NCOP, our committees, we only have 10 committees looking after all 40 of the 40 plus of the departments in government. So each committee is quite busy and has a vast set of responsibilities. And the committees meet every week. So normally a member of a committee will have at least 2 committee meetings per week when Parliament is in session. Normally lasting about 3 hours long, so they're long meetings. I think that's something that most people don't get. But in terms of the actual work that we're processing, look, the work of the NCOP centres around focusing on provinces and the impact of legislation on provinces and furthering the needs of provinces. So we often have visiting members of the provincial legislature that come in and participate in our meetings as well, which is something that most people won't be aware of. But in terms of the actual work, it differs per committee. So, we have, for example, the Appropriations Committee that looks after the budget distribution that the executive has put forward for monies to be distributed to provinces and municipalities. And we have responsibility for making sure that that's done on as fair basis as possible, and we have an oversight role to play on that.
Let me ask you, if you disappeared for a week, what would probably fall apart first?
That's a tough question. I've got a wonderful team that supports me as well, and I think that they'd be able, if it was just a week, I think they'd be able to probably do without me. More than that, I think there might be a bit of a struggle, but I do think that the collaboration, the communication between the chairpersons of the different committees with the institution is probably my main role, and getting in requests because a lot of things can't just be simply reduced into a spreadsheet. There needs to be motivation, discussion, and so on. So I think the relationships are really important, and understanding and being able to weigh off different priorities and determine which one is the highest. But what would fall apart first is I just think the coordination of the committees. You would I think soon find that meeting clashes would start to happen, which becomes difficult because while we try to avoid it, certain members have different responsibilities to different committees. Certainly when it comes to joint committees, especially, that's where we have overlapping, and then people can't be in 2 places at once. And that would probably be the biggest thing. But also then, of course, following the golden thread through the process of making sure that the meeting is properly planned, the agenda is distributed, and then the meeting takes place, and then there's an output from that, for example, a report, and that report needs to serve then in the House. So that golden thread, following that through, I think may also take a bit of a hit. Again, I've got a great team, but yes, ultimately I'm the one who's responsible and accountable.
Okay. Lastly, I would like to just get your personal thoughts, essentially. What has been the most rewarding or standout moment of your tenure as House Chairperson of Committees?
So we had a strategic breakaway session for committees a little while ago, where we had the all members of the NCOP together for 2 days, and we put forward our ideas from an institutional point of view of where we hoped to take the institution over the next couple of years, and to have the members sitting, first of all listening and then participating actively. I think watching everyone get on board with the bigger plan, the strategy plan, and then finding ways for themselves to break that down into kind of micro strategies, if you like, that would all contribute towards helping us achieve that big main plan. So that really was my proudest moment, and the most satisfaction I've had in a long time was finding that absolute alignment between everybody at the end of the 2 days. And it was so great. People want leadership. People look for leadership. And when we found ourselves in a situation that everyone felt that they'd all been pulled together, they'd all had an opportunity to have their say as well, and give their own inputs. So it's not my plan that was agreed to. It's not the plan of the chairperson of the NCOP. Everyone gave their inputs. We had a kind of panel-beaten overall plan that is perfectly in alignment with the strategy of Parliament, and just bringing that all together at the end of the 2 days, it was a really good feeling to realize what we've achieved.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how one of the busiest people in the NCOP keeps our democracy ticking, from the committee rooms to the House floor. Thank you, House Chair.
Thank you very much, Steve.